empowerment in every aspect of our everyday lives, our relationships, our goals, ourselves. Knowing that the mountain is you, and the journey is just as special as reaching the summit. I had the immense pleasure of bringing on Florence Afluemi Ojo to the podcast to talk on this very subject. She was the founder of Molded Inside and Out, a personal brand that began back in 2017 as a blog. Originally from Nigeria but grew up in Ireland, she identifies as Irish Nigerian. Her blog gained such popularity and notoriety after she shared her experiences as a Black Irish young woman going through an identity crisis during her first trip back to Nigeria in 17 years. She expanded her brand and launched MIO Prints in 2018. She shares a passion for wellness, fashion, and positivity on all social media platforms, including Instagram and TikTok. As a Black Nigerian woman living in Ireland, she has faced many challenges such as racism, discrimination, prejudice, ranging from subtle microaggressions to overt acts of bigotry. However, through her experiences, she has learned about her history, her Irish history, engaged with various projects to contribute positively to Irish society, to be that light we need. Her resilience and her strength to continue to have open dialogues and biases makes all the difference.
How's your day been going? How are we keeping?
I'm really good. Like, my day has been going well. I feel like my day has actually literally just started. So I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
No worries.
I've had breakfast, so I'm well awake and alert.
Florence Olufemi Ojo has had breakfast, people. No, genuinely, like my day started an hour ago at the gym. Like I fell out of bed. I had like a shit ton of coffee and then now we're here. So my day is literally starting as well.
But much a shame. I was supposed to go to the gym, but no, we've not been too good this week. I'll go tomorrow.
How does your gym sessions usually go? Because I do like the old school kind of Arnold thing, you know, like the male ego, you know, push, pull, legs. What's your kind of what's your mentality in the gym?
Okay, so for me, my current mentality is just to move my body. I'm not really going to the gym for the aesthetics anymore. It's more around I suppose just going there for myself. You know, it's I do a lot of things. So the gym actually is the only time I have to myself. Like, I don't like going to the gym with my friends so much anymore. I just feel like it's my own space to myself. And even when I see people, I'm like, oh, hi. And I'm just like, okay, bye. I want to just do it. I'm in my own zone. And it's not like I'm stuck up. It's just, I just feel like it's the only time that I have, you know, to myself and just to de-stress and you know, think. I always say to people, I can't afford therapy. So gym is my therapy as well. Like, it's literally when I'm stressed and I go in, just pumping that adrenaline and just do what I need to do. But in terms of like an actual like structure, so I follow an app now called Evolve You, and it's from my virtual PT, Chrisicella. And I think it's Chrisicella or Chrisicella. I hope I'm saying her name right. But basically she has like a program. So I've joined the intermediate program, and it's like a 20-week program basically where she brings you through a journey. So like on the program, basically I go to the gym 3 times a week. I work out my leg once a week and my upper body, and then I also have like a full body workout. And honestly, it's been brilliant because I used to be that girl that would go to the gym and decide, okay, today's leg day, and I'll just do like random exercises. And when I feel like I've done a good job, I'd leave. But actually, I wasn't like, you know, pushing myself to my full potential.
Yeah.
So having the structure has really, really helped, and I'm seeing the results, and I'm happy. Like, you know, I'm happy we're seeing the gains in the right places or whatever. And I'm like, okay, sis, I'm happy.
Seeing the gains, seeing the confidence exploding in it. I've seen some of your content on social media, like the fact you're doing like RDLs and all that. I'm just like, damn, she knows what she's doing in the gym.
It's taken a long time, but you know, I'm happy. Yeah, and you know what? Like, it's like trying to build strength, and I would always say to people, yeah, like the things I've learned in the gym has actually been like triple effect, like into
Hmm.
other areas of my lives. Like, so the fact that I've developed strength and my core and all these kind of things in the gym.
Just jump straight into this question because it comes to what you were saying there about growing up. So could you share a little bit about your background and your story, your lifestyle up until this date, as not only growing up in Ireland, coming from Nigeria, but also being a content creator, an entrepreneur, a single independent woman who doesn't need anyone to tell her what to do because she is a badass.
Oh, thanks, George. Like, that's geez, like, oh, wow. Um, so yeah, my name is Florence. I was born in Nigeria. I left when I was 5. And we came to Ireland. I suppose for me, like one of my first memories of coming to Ireland was, so me and my sister went to a school in Clondalkin. It was called Clonboris. I think that's still the name. And I never forget the first time we went into the yard. So we went out to play, and we were the first black children in the school. And I remember, like, when we went out to the yard, like, we saw like a massive rush of kids literally running up to us, touching our hair, our skin. Like, obviously now in hindsight, they obviously never seen, a black child before. But in that
Hmm.
moment, I remember thinking, oh my God, what is going on? And yeah, like, then moving forward, and like, we were bullied quite a bit. It was hard, growing up. But then I actually then went to study social care in college, and this was actually a very like important thing, because I remember the first time I went into my lecture room. I was actually thinking about this interview, and I just remembered a couple of days ago. So I went into my lecture room, and as an undergraduate, I was 18,
Hmm.
and I walked into the lecture room, and I was the only black student. And I remember going on to my mum. I'm like, Mum, I can't do this. And she was like, "Why?" I was like, "Mum, I was the only black person in the class," and I was like, it just reminded me of growing up. Bearing in mind that, like, I do feel like up until I was 18, like my identity shift and just who I saw myself as, like, that was still undergoing. Like, I was still trying to develop and just even figure out who I was. But I
Yeah.
think then going into college as something like someone that's supposed to be that's meant to be an adult, then going in and just remembering my childhood, I'm like, oh my God, like I can't do this. And my mom was just like, look, I mean, to be honest, in my house, like, you're going to college. There was just no, you're going to college. So it was more, like, for her, it was like, well, you're just going to have to go in every day and take it day by day. But like, one of the lecturers was so good. She really acknowledged that I was the only black student in the class, and would, really invite me into conversations, and just really helped me. I forgot her name. Where I hope if she's ever listening to this, thank you so much, because honestly, it really helped me to just accept that I was, going to be in spaces where, for the most part, I probably would be the most obvious person. That I would look different. But I took that in my stride anyways, and I absolutely loved college in the end. And I remember, like, in second year, we had another black student, and I was like, oh my God, like, I don't need a competition. So,
Ah.
like, growing up now, like, I've just, there's literally, I've learned to just love who I am, and I've just really worked on myself. I think for me, in 2017, when my mom brought us back for the first time in 15 years to Nigeria, like that, I think that definitely was like a real defining moment in my identity, and just really helping me to understand who I was, and then actually really embracing this concept of having, to, like, being raised in Ireland, being Nigerian, and really just like embracing two different cultures. I remember, like, when we were going back, myself and my siblings were so upset and angry, like, so much that I literally said to my mom, I'm not contributing €1 into that ticket. So my mom forked out like 7K on her own, because there's 5 of us, and literally,
Whoa.
yeah, I was working at the time. I was like, I do not want to go back to that place. You're bringing us back, and so you're definitely going to do everything on your own. And even on the plane going back, my mom was like, Florence, why are you so, like, I was so puffed up, I was so upset. And then we landed, and to be honest, like, I don't think I've ever seen so many black people in my entire life. Like, I was like, what? It was so weird, like, not seeing one single white person. I mean, obviously when we got into the airport, we started to see 1 or 2 more white faces, but it was just so strange.
A culture shock, if
Yeah, it
anything.
was so strange. And then, like, obviously as the days go by, we realize actually we're not very Nigerian, because obviously we were being told oh, your accent is different. Oh, this is different. Oh, do you think you're better? Like, obviously having conversations with people, and you just see that, oh, actually, we're not very Nigerian. When we came back home, and again, you're reminded that you're not very Irish. So it was really, for me, I was like, right, okay, so who am I? Where am I from? And I just had
Yeah.
to, start the journey of just, like, I suppose, soul search, and just trying to really figure out who I was. And obviously, I then did my master's in social work, and I definitely feel like studying social work and connecting with people has really helped me with my identity. Then 2 years ago, we had a massive outpour on the internet with what we called End SARS.
You were telling me about this earlier,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, so it's funny because, like, so in 2020, just to just put into context, 2020, I went to Nigeria in December. Like, so I was like, right, I'm going to go on my own to my country and just be a tourist, right? And I just noticed that people were constantly cranky. Youths they were so restricted. Like my cousin, he's very tall. Like, obviously being a young person, like I remember, like when we're leaving the house, my auntie would always kind of police what he was wearing and made sure he was dressed a certain way. She'd ask him not to bring his phone out and, like, not to wear certain watches, and I just didn't understand. And then NSARS happened, and I realized that actually the youth in Nigeria, based on how you looked, you were judged. So if you had dreads, if you had like a watch, if you had a car as a young person, if you had a laptop, if you had an expensive phone, if you wore jeans, if you like wore ripped jeans, if you sagged your trousers, basically if you weren't wearing trousers, shirts, and a tie, the police would target you and they would stop you on the road. Sometimes people were being killed. Sometimes things were being confiscated from people. Parents were losing their kids. Sometimes they'd be kidnapped. It was horrendous.
Oh my.
Yeah, it was horrible. And just because you were a youth. And the same with the girls as well. Like, you wore like a short dress. It was just. And yeah, there was like a protest at the Lekki Bridge in Lagos, and there was a massacre, and it was just horrendous. So I think during that period, a lot of young Africans living abroad, like, and as we were saying, then living in diaspora, were then searching into what's going on in our country. And I know at the time it was mostly Nigeria. I'm sure it was happening in other parts of Africa, but the end side specifically was Nigeria. And obviously, it's like over here, like, if the Gardaí, they're, but actually they're doing the opposite. Like, people couldn't call the guards because the people you call it, like, they're meant to help, but they're the ones doing the opposite. So to be honest, I started to do more research into Nigeria and my culture, and again, all these like defining moments. Then you had a Black Lives Matter as well, and these things have really helped me to not only like sit down with like my Irish friends and have conversations, but really just do some soul searching and just dig deep into my culture and my roots. And then looking at that, like, versus, like, obviously I feel sometimes very, very, very privileged because I've had to work on myself, and even as a young person that's gone through racism now, like, I'm very much confident in myself, and I always like to shine my light where I go. Like, literally, people know if I'm in the room because I'm so loud and I'm really chatty, and I've just brought this, like, my own strengths. I've incorporated into who I am, I do. And yeah, so like that, I suppose all these like key moments like have really helped me in defining my identity. Like, I wouldn't say I'm fully there yet. Like, I definitely feel like every day is a new day, even as a woman, like, I've just realized in the last year or two that, like, my period now affects my mental health. And I know it sounds like, oh, but it's like,
No.
when I was younger, it was like my body would change, where now I think, and it was just actually during the pandemic, I realized sometimes I'd just be sad, like, for no reason, Stuart. Like, imagine waking up and just not having a reason to be sad, but actually being deeply, deeply, deeply sad. And I went to the GP and I realized, oh, it's my period, and now it affects my mood. So now, obviously, now I know that when it's come to that time of the month, I go to the gym more. I'm a lot more nicer to myself, but sometimes it catches me so unaware. So yeah, like, it's, and that's another thing as well that now I've learned about myself. So I think as human beings, we're constantly evolving, and like, I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah. We as biometric organisms, like, we are nothing if not influenced by our hormones and the things that happen on in our body, and then what affects us externally, internally. But I mean, What a story and identity, because you are not Irish, you are not Nigerian, you are both,
Mm.
you are an amalgamation, you've got all this history. Like, you have such a unique identity and you're influenced by two different mindsets, two different cultures. How has that affected your own life in terms of the fact that you wanted to go into social care, the fact that, you know, you're very family orientated, you're very spiritually orientated. It's a lot, and it's actually it's quite an amazing thing for
Thank you.
someone like in our generation to be so open-minded and so self-aware and so aware of everything going on around them. Like, how has it affected you in 2023? Like, you're saying
I
you're
guess,
developing and you're I don't even think like I know I mentioned this earlier, like how far ahead you are compared to like so many other people. Like, you are so self-aware and so filled with gratitude for what you have, what you are developing on. Like I said earlier, you're a badass mama jamma.
thank you, thank you so much. I think, to be honest, like the key word here is open minded. Yeah, like I do feel like a lot of people aren't self aware, and it's something that I've had to really spend time to develop. And like again, like I'm not there yet. Like I definitely feel like I'm still on this journey of self-awareness. I'm just really developing myself. I feel like
Mhm.
I'm my greatest tool. So like because of that, like I've learned that, you know, like I come first in terms of like what's going on with me. And if I don't understand what's going on for myself, then how can I even help or motivate people? And I'm a firm believer in, like, you
Oh
know,
my gosh, yes, 100%. I apologies for interrupting you, but
no. Honestly,
100%.
like, sure, like, no, let's do this, like, and just like interrupt each other, like, you know.
Yeah.
I absolutely. I just feel like, yeah, like you just have to be in tune with yourself. On You really have to be in tune with yourself. And I feel like maybe because I aspire to inspire people, I know that because of that, I need to. Like I need to be able to sit in rooms and have these conversations, right? So like I can't speak to a young white Irish young woman about what it's like to grow up in a Nigerian home. And my parents also separated when I was 15, which at the time it just never happened in the African community. There was a massive taboo. You know, my mom went through so much, and I think as well, growing up, I was there's this constant trying to prove myself. So I have one brother, and I've got four sisters. So like in our community at the time, like people would say to my mom, "Oh, how are you going to raise these girls on your own?" And like she had to work hard, and I feel like because she was working hard, we had to work hard to prove to
Mhm.
people that actually we could be something in life, and we could, you know, we'll be fine and everything. And to be honest, like it was good, but at the same time, it put a lot of pressure on me and my siblings.
Oh
And it's
yeah.
only now in the last year or two that I'm like, actually, do you know what? Like, I'm no longer looking to prove myself to anybody. It's about me now. And my reason why has changed. Initially, even when I started my business, it was because I wanted to show people and show my mom and my community that actually, you know, even if you come off from a single parent's home, you can still make something out of your life. Like I live in Tala, you know, I went to a deaf school, but I was constantly striving to be a better person, to show that, you know, it's possible to still live a life where you thrive and reach your goals. And you know, that then means sometimes you're constantly people pleasing, and I would say to people, I'm a recovering people pleaser. um where like you're just constantly trying to, oh, what would people say, and like would they approve, and is that okay? And it's just, it's very draining, you know. You're constantly trying to live life for people. And yeah, like it's in the
It's
last
a
year or two
drug as
again.
well, though, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
when you do get that approval at times, you're like, "Oh my gosh, I got it. I got that validation from this person I was
Mhm.
seeking it from."
Yeah, and you know, social media doesn't help as well, you know. All the likes and the comments and the engagements, that's sometimes it's almost like that's when you're validated. But actually no, you know, I've gotten to that point now where like if I'm putting something out, I've approved it myself, I'm happy with it, I've edited it the way I want it to look,
Hmm.
I see what I see, and it's good. So actually you engage, and I appreciate it. Like I feel like I definitely built this community, but at the end of the day, if whether or not you like it, it's not going to make a difference to my work and the work that I put into it. And I think it's the same even as a business owner. Like sometimes you attach the success of your business to your identity, and then obviously then the failure to your identity. And that's really, really hard, because just because you're on this venture and it's not doing well doesn't mean you're a failure as a person. And again, this is like something that I've had to work on, because I grew up thinking, oh my god, if I start something, if it doesn't go well, it means that like I'm a failure, it means that I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve to speak on this topic. But actually, no, like it's failing is it's an important part of life. And it's the same thing with college and going through uni and just developing myself, and even like building my blog. I was always like, do you know what, I'm going to start something, and if I like it, great. If it doesn't work out, okay, well, at least I tried. And recently, actually, someone was saying to me, this is not your practice life, and that actually stood to me. She was like, this is not practice. You're not in choir practice. This is your life. You only get to do this once, so you might as well live your life to the fullest. And I definitely feel like the people that I've encountered and my circle and my choir, I'm in Ireland's leading intercultural choir. Shout out to Discovery Gospel Choir. Just shameless plug, but like being in these spaces and like having conversations with incredible people like yourself, even it's really, really just helped me to constantly just like always checking in on my own values, because my values are very much ingrained in my culture. And honestly, like when I went to Nigeria in 2020, right, I got like fake dreads, and auntie, no shade, but my auntie's friend, right, so she meets us on the road, and she says to my auntie, oh, is this your sister's daughter that came from Ireland? And my auntie said, yeah. She was like, why is her hairstyle like a mad person's hairstyle? So she was referring to my friend. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. So this was someone that has never met me before. She didn't say hi. She didn't say, oh, nice to meet you. The first thing she did was judge me by my hairstyle. So she was like, why does she have locks? And like, that's for mad people. Like, and I was like, oh my God. But like, this is what I'm trying to say. Like, so back home in Nigeria, like, and I'm sure it is changing. Thank God for like the internet, social media, and influencers that are literally sharing the word. But literally, like, if you go to, like, I can't wear certain things in Nigeria because I would be deemed a certain way, where over here I get to be liberal and do my own thing. And so sometimes you're constantly trying to redefine your values, like, and question, okay, Florence, this value, is it serving you or is it not? Where is it coming from? Especially never mind then being a Christian, because then you have the biblical values and you're like, oh, actually, as a young Christian, we're told not to do this, but then culturally I'm not allowed to do this. But then I go to work and my colleagues would say, Florence, sure, you're only young, why would you want to be married at 29? Where actually when I go back to home, my aunties are like, oh, Florence, you're going to be 29 this year, where is the ring?
The deviation of like where people see like the aspect of life and what you should be doing at a certain age or a certain time or period is so manipulated by our practice, our beliefs, and then like our societal standards or expectations, and then the expectations of others. It is very draining on an individual to live like your own authentic life.
Extremely, yeah. And do you see why now it's so important to be self-aware? Because you need to know, like, where is my head at right now? Like, what do I believe in? What are my standards? What serves me? Because otherwise, like, we're constant, like, especially in today's world, like, there's so many voices, there's so many ways to live, there's so many ways to identify, and you just need to be true to yourself. Like, at the end of the day, it's your life. You only have yourself to blame. If you don't live your life to the fullest, if you don't start that business, if you don't start going to the gym, if you don't go out with your friend, whatever you want to do, just start, because there's no perfect time. For example, like I lost my auntie recently, and to be honest, like, even that, like, obviously has gotten me questioning life and like, what's the purpose of life? And she was a great person, because I went to her wake the other day and just listened to the tributes and how she impacted many lives.
Yeah.
And she was 54, so like technically, she was young. Like, actually, to be honest, she's very much young.
Shit. I'm so sorry that like the passing was so young in life.
Oh, honestly, like, and I've just been thinking about, okay, Florence, like no, tomorrow is not promised, and I'm not trying to be like cynical or grim or anything, but really and truly, tomorrow is not promised. And like, I just want to make sure that like I've lived my life to the fullest and I've done what I want to do. Like, I feel like there's certain things that I keep saying I want to do and I haven't, and I really need to do it. Like, so I've been saying for a long time I want to travel, and I just feel like although I travel, like, but it's like in little pockets. Like, I'll go for a week for 2 weeks, but I actually want to go traveling. Do you get me? And again, that's not a very, I would say, quote unquote, it's not a very Nigerian thing. I want to be careful not to say an African thing, just in case people
Okay.
come for me. But it's not a Nigerian thing. You know, like Irish people, for example, it's very much cultural for you to be like, right, I'm going to go traveling to Thailand and go like travel the entire Asia as a continent and just go to different countries. It's not very like African people don't really do that, you know. And it's because like we're just, I don't know, we're told you go to school, you go to college, you get a job, you get married. If you're a woman, you have babies, and that's it. Like, you know, that's you living a good life. And only now, more recently, are we seeing a shift in the way people are, you know, people live life and how people perceive the world and society and stuff. But like, I mean, we've come a long way, but things definitely need to change. Like, we're even now, like, it's only now that we're seeing situations where people are saying to their parents, "Oh, I want to be a content creator. Like, I want to do YouTube full time." It's like, what? Like, you're either going to be a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, a lawyer. You know, it's like the traditional jobs.
The expectations, especially of like the maternal and the fraternal, like heavily influences, and when you try to deviate from that, it's quite difficult. I had a recent conversation actually with my own father, who was asking me, what was I doing with my life and how was I paying my bills and not out on the street? And I'm like, well, my bills are paid. I'm not sure how, but you know, I'm kind of happy in life. But could I ask you a very, very transparent question? It's something you just said earlier about living life to the fullest. If you knew that today was your last day and when you went to sleep tonight, you would never open your eyes again, would you feel content? It's a very hard question that I have recently been asking myself.
No.
You badass bitch. I can't believe you.
I don't feel like I'm a firm believer that I feel like I have so much potential, and I feel like I've not even started to hit the iceberg. I feel like I've not even like worked myself to a quarter of what my potentials are, and I think that's very sad, to be honest. Like, I feel like in certain ways I limit myself, and like I really want to change that. I really do. I feel like, I don't want to, like, I want to know that, like, if I close my eyes today, I can actually just, like, I live my best life, and I don't think, I feel like there's so much more I could be doing, and I don't know what it is that's stopping me sometimes, you know. I do feel like, again, obviously my belief and my mindset, and I definitely feel like that needs to expand, it really does. I need to really, like, connect with more people, like, I need to change, and then not necessarily change my circle, but I do need to, like, have people as well in my life that really, really, like, push me. And don't get me wrong, I love my friends. They're, like, they're like my friends, my family, they're my backbone. But I still feel like I feel like sometimes I'm a bit too comfortable, you know? And I don't know.
That I do get. Understandably, it's like you have put yourself so much and you're thinking, I'm in a good space now. And then you're like, but I need to push myself a little bit further. Like, there's so much more we could do as individuals. But that's persistence, isn't it? Like, it's constantly about growing and learning as you go.
100%. And I just feel like it's about being unapologetic about who you are, and just being, like, even I think it's even a lot of strength to be able to say, actually, I don't think I've reached my full potential, or I don't even think I'm close to it, because I think sometimes it can be scary to say that, you know. Like, don't get me wrong.
That you've reached your full potential.
No, I think I suppose what I'm trying to say is, I think it's even strength in itself to be able to admit that you aren't reaching your full potential, and that there's so much more you could do. Because sometimes, society makes us feel like, basically, it's not okay to be complacent. And I don't know, for me personally, I'm not trying to be mediocre. Like, I really want to make sure that, when I'm much older, I can say to younger girls and to younger generation, and even like my young self, to be able to say, Florence, you did really well, because you did this, and this. Like, I'm going to be 29 this year, and I feel like I wish I had done more than what I've done so far. Not that being said, it's not that, to be hard on yourself. I think, again, it's about knowing, what your potentials are. And if you feel like you've got more to give, then why not? What's stopping you from giving more, from doing more,
I think that is a completely transparent and authentic mindset, because a lot of people will resonate with that. It's like they've done so much, but they're like, but I can do so much more. And I think the thing to give ourselves in these moments are grace. It's like, I've done this amount, I've worked this hard, but you know what? I've still got more left in the tank. So I'm going to keep on working hard. I'm not going to stop now. But like persistence is a key factor in all this, in achieving not only like a overall success but a personal success. Can you talk about like any specific challenges or setbacks that you've faced in your life, in your business entrepreneurial journey, that you've persevered through, that made you go, hell yeah, I can keep going, I can keep doing this?
Yeah, like I feel like 2 years ago we launched our own design, and to be honest, like in hindsight, I feel like we probably weren't ready, you know, to have launched.
Oh, you're never going to be ready. You are never going to be ready.
I know, but like, don't get me wrong, it's great because it's like it's now our unique selling points. Like, you know, I get to say, you know, we have pajamas, we have products that are in our own design. You know, you can't find this anywhere else in the markets.
Drop the plug. Drop the plug.
So yeah, guys, follow our business, MIO Print. No, but like honestly, I feel like at the time, you know what is, yeah, I was just so sick and tired of seeing certain prints in every single product, and I couldn't say anything. Like, it's really hard when you work hard on a particular collection, and you know, then you have other people using the same. And you know, the way that in the fashion industry, it's people are constantly copying, and that's another thing. I suppose I'm at that point now where I need to what exactly stands. Like, I need to make sure I'm doing something that makes me stand out from another business. But at the time, I thought it would be having my own unique design. But it was a massive project, and I think, to be honest, it was probably bigger than the actual business. And it's been a challenge, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like this is my 5th year in business, and I'm definitely feeling. I'm at that point. I'm like, oh my god, like I'm ready to give up. I'm ready to just pack up and just go. And it's not even an ego thing. Like, I genuinely do not like, if I get a whiff even that, like, I could be doing something different, or that this is not the path for me anymore. I definitely feel like I'm at that point now where I've separated myself a bit from the business, that I can actually just be like, yeah, I'm done. But I feel like there's definitely something like I'm not done. Do you get me? I just need. I've been trying to actively take a step back and just think about, okay, how can I pivot? Like, what can I do differently? How can I give my audience something different? Like, are they bored? Because I'm bored. Like, you're constantly thinking about the present moment, and I'm like, oh, like right now I'm a bit tired and I'm a bit burnt out. But like, for me, it's more than the fashion, it's more than the product, it's the community. And I think they're the reasons why I'm still here, even they're the reason why I haven't decided, you know what, like I'm just going to like send in a message on Instagram and be like, guys, you know, thank you for your help, thank you for your support, but actually now we're done. You know, I just think, no, like I've had conversations with my business, like some of my customers, and how they've said my products have actually impacted them, and like how they've managed to incorporate it into their own routine just makes me feel like, okay, this is like the community. And you know, just hearing different stories from people, and then having opportunities, and just like literally, like I've been called into rooms where I don't think I would have ever been called into if I didn't have a business. Do you get me? And it's really amazing, and it just shows you, like, literally from a thought to a concept, and then like planning that out and then actioning it, and you know, putting yourself out there. And you know, that's the thing about these things as well. You constantly have to put yourself out there, even on good days and bad days, and that can be really, really hard. So I feel like for me, that's why I love my fitness journey. Like, I love my fitness journey. I love the fact that I've just detached myself from, you know, any like any kind of negative vibes. And to be honest, and it's really hard, because even when it's going really well, sometimes you have to be like, okay, it's going really well, I did that, but actually it's not just you, because there's other people behind it. Do you know, that kind of way? So yeah, like that's kind of where my head is at the moment. Just trying to really figure out what I'm doing now, and I feel like this is the age. This is the time for me to do that, because I left my 9-to-5 January this year as well, and I just went to pursue a different career path. I'm still working as a social worker, but I now do shift work, which has given me more time for my business as well, and it's also given me more time for myself. And it's just honestly, like, I feel like I'm now living the life that I've always wanted to live. Like, I'm literally flexible. Like, I don't have to think, oh my god, Monday 9 a.m. I'm still working as a social worker. Like, last year I was actually so depressed. I was so depressed. And it's taken me to come into this year to realize, okay, actually last year I was just literally on autopilot. And that's another thing about me. Like, that's how I cope. I get myself busy. But you know yourself, like, we have to be smart. It's not just about the doing. It's actually the strategies and how and about you're going about your day, if that makes sense.
And now we come to the segment of the podcast where, if you could, I would kindly ask you to like, comment, share. But in all seriousness, I find myself overwhelmed with such emotion. Grateful beyond measure for the wonderful souls. As much as I want to help you, you all help me. Thank you so much. That is enough emotion today. Let's get back into the episode.
I schedule my schedules, like, so when it comes to like incorporating my day into like a routine that fits me and my lifestyle, I totally get that.
Yeah.
I find it very interesting though, the fact you're talking about the personal aspect of the community that you're cultivating through your brand and your endeavor, and sharing the fact that even though with setbacks, you know, you're still driven to do something because you don't feel like it's the end yet. But like, can you share a time that you like stayed persistent despite facing these obstacles, where like someone did come up to you and you went, oh my gosh, I've made a difference in an individual's life or in my own life?
I feel like that's me currently now.
Yeah.
Like what we had an event there with Meta, and somebody was saying, "Oh my God, you know, I've been watching you for so long." And actually, no, do you know what it is? I had a training with the local enterprise office, and it was actually, I think, I can't remember what the topic was, but I was sharing like some of my challenges, and then I had one of the ladies in the audience who was like, "Oh my God, Florence, I've been following you since the very start," and she was like, I love what you do, and you know, every time I'm not in a great place, I go online, I see what you're doing, and I'm like, oh my God, this girl, she's had it again. Like how, and she was like, how do you manage a business? You work as a social worker, you're in the choir, you're doing all these things. And she was like, you're just a massive ball of energy. And you know what, like sometimes, and that's why, like, I feel like you have to live a life where you can't always think about yourself. Sometimes it's not about you. And that's why when I talk about potentials and, you know, being able to do more, because I just feel like they're like, you know, you giving up like would actually have a massive knock-on effect on a lot of people. Because, and not to say that I'm like, obviously people need to do what's best for them, but I also feel like if you are the person who,
you are completely right with that. Sorry, before I'm interjecting now because it's just in my head, but like if a child threw a stone into a pond, it would have a ripple effect. If a butterfly flapped a wing, that would cause pollen to flutter and pollinate somewhere else. Sorry, continue on with.
Yeah, no, 100%. So it's like sometimes, like, it's not about. If it was about me, I would have just been like, you know, I'm done. But no, it's not really about me. It's about the people that see me and are inspired and feel like if she can do it, then I can do it. And I just feel like if I give up, like then what, like, and then what, like, so what happens then? Then you're done. And but it's not like it's just not that easy for you to just be like, I'm done, because I just feel like I have to think about other people, and that's hard, because I do feel like sometimes I'm holding on to a burden. But that's why I also feel like self-awareness is so important, because you need to know, right, what's up, Florence, what's good, are we Gucci, like, do you need to take a step back, re-strategize, just take a break, and then come back stronger and be transparent. You know, it's funny because I was actually writing up a newsletter like a couple of weeks ago, and I was very transparent in that newsletter. I sent it to my editor, and she let Florence know, like, this is way too transparent. But I hope that, you know, I do get to a point where I can be as transparent to people and say, look, guys, I'm actually feeling really shit. Like, I don't know where this is going, and I know, can I ask for a break? And sometimes it's really hard because you feel like you're asking for permission, but it's just, I do feel like, you know, it does get to that point when you've built a community of people that trust you, you know, and people that were inspired by you, and people that you've touched, and they've touched me as well. Do you know, that kind of way? So yeah, like I'm definitely in that space right now where I feel like I'm done, but you know, I need to kind of stay in the game and just take a break and do what I need to do for myself, because at the end of the day, you can't give from an empty cup, do you know?
Do not take my sentence away from me. I use that constantly.
No, but it's true. Like, if I have nothing to give, like, and you know what? It's the same with, like, even like romantic relationships. You know, do you ever get that point?
Oh, 100%. If you're
I've got
like,
nothing to give. I've got nothing to give because you've drained me so much. And I do feel like sometimes it gets like that, even with life and business. I am very, very lucky to to be working in the career where I do, where like obviously like we see and deal with mental health issues on a, like it's my bread and butter. You know, like I'm constantly seeing how, you know, addiction and the impacts and you know, family breakdowns and, you know, the war and all these things that are happening, and, you know, people coming into the country, and like I'm literally at the forefront of it, so I definitely see the first and the ripple effects. And I feel like because I work in such a space, it allows me to be like, right, I can't, like, if I'm not okay, for example, if I'm feeling really down in myself today and I go into work, it definitely, I people can see and how I relate with the young people that I work with. You know, like if you're sad, like you're not, how are you going to be able to speak to a 2-year-old and really have like, you know, most and like have this bubbly character, and like, you know, you're going to the guard station, you're being told, yeah. Anyways, without speaking too much about work, but basically my point is,
You're trying to be that connection, and you're
yeah,
trying to be that space for other people to feel safe, to
exactly,
feel healed, to feel acknowledged. And
exactly,
if you can't feel that in yourself, then you're
yeah,
not going to give that to another person.
exactly, exactly.
That is, do you realize what you have just said for like these last few conversations is taking, literally stripping back the ego? Like you're saying, the transparency is where you want to be, but like what you've just said is completely authentic and very, very raw. And a lot of people will not be this transparent, even with themselves, like, you know, that they need to just constantly push through it and to, you know, act like everything is happy, and, you know, they need to put on this facade for everyone around them, for their work, for their social media. What you are, what you have just like acknowledged, and what you do is a very authentic thing that people can say, when I'm not okay, I'm going to take this time for myself to recuperate, to reevaluate, to reassess, you know, what I need to do, what I need to be, so I can help or do like what I want in life. Like that's a very, and excuse the profanity, fucking amazing and powerful thing.
Thank you, and you know what? Like, I hope people just, like, I literally wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm a very emotional person, and I feel like, for me, it's really, really important. Like, I bring myself to the forefront of what I do. I don't, like, I'm not here to pretend to be who I'm not. Like, my biggest fear, really, as a content creator, as a business owner, or as a person in this space, is to ever come across as a hypocrite. I feel like, obviously, and it's a hard one as well, because there's only so much transparency you can do. Like, sometimes people take advantage of it, but that's why I literally, and actually coming into this year, I've started to like really gotta vet the kind of spaces that I'm in, like, and like I'm very careful of the people I allow into my space, because I just feel like I'm literally all about the energy. Like, if you give me negative energy, I'm so sorry, I can't have you in my space, because I'm just in a different path right now, and I don't want anything to shift that. So for me, because I'm such an open person as well, it's very, very important that I feel like I'm just, you know,
120% in what you're saying.
So I'm really all about protecting my energy this year, and it's really been beneficial. But yeah, like I'd like, and I hope people see that I'm very much, I like to just connect with people. Like, it's really just like something that I'm very much passionate about. And yeah, like, so yeah, I hope people do get that. And like, obviously, even you having these conversations, like, I'm sure, you know, it just means that obviously you're the same in terms of like you coming up online. And I see you as well, Stuart, you know, being able to share about your mental health journey, and, you know, and your fitness as well, and just being able to incorporate that into your content. Like, it's really, really amazing to see. It's not easy, you know, but like, people think sometimes that, oh, like, sharing about your mental health it's like to get attention, but really it's not. It takes a lot of strength to be open about something that, you know, will look different on a daily basis. And for me, as I said, as I was saying earlier on, sometimes now it's a monthly basis, where I'm like, a couple of days to the time of the month, I'm like, what's going on? Why am I why am I sad?
Why you feel a certain way? Yeah. Well, I can't. Sorry, apologies. I can't associate like with certain things that you might feel at certain times. Like, so I'm trying to like say this. How do I say this very eloquently?
No, it's okay. But yeah, like, I mean, yeah, like, honestly, being transparent and being authentic is something that I like, that I literally core to who I am, and a massive part of my value system. So yeah, no, if it comes true in this, I'm happy, and I feel like that's like half of my job done, to be honest.
You are also a person of faith. Am I correct in saying that? I don't want to.
I am.
Can you explain how faith has helped you during unique circumstances? Because me myself, I am agnostic, and I would never, disregard anyone in their
Hmm.
beliefs, as I think there is something there in terms of a higher power. Someone want to use the word God or entity
Hmm.
or universe. Like, how's
Hmm.
it helped you in unique hurdles, or how's it just helped you in your life?
Yeah, so yes, I am. I'm Christian, and I always say people to people like Christianity is not like it's not really a religion; it's a way of life. Like so, basically, I feel like people should see you and be able to see that okay, you're living a life that is loving, and you make people feel good, and you impact people positively, and you shouldn't like people shouldn't leave where you are and feel like oh my god, she's left like she's left me feeling worse, and and I just feel like
Mm.
in terms of praying, like honestly, I do need to get better at it. I'm not going to come here and pretend. Like I definitely I do pray. I do like I've always this year coming to this year I was like okay, I'm going to try and become a better Christian. And sometimes it's yeah, sometimes it can be hard, especially as a young person. Obviously I'll speak for myself, but I do sometimes struggle with like really carving out
Oh,
time.
of course, yeah, yeah. Especially in like this day and age, like it's probably very hard to stay in religion as it's kind of shifting and people are finding other avenues for themselves.
Yeah, yeah, but like one thing I definitely do is like I go to church like at least 3 Sundays a month. I'm in, as I said, I'm Islands leading into cultural choir. Like obviously in the choir, so we do have different faiths in the choir. So it's a gospel choir, but like everyone's welcome. But it's nice to be able to sing gospel songs and just really connect to that community as well. And yeah, like I'm always trying to connect with like Christian communities as well, just like especially young people, just so that I'm connected and rooted in I suppose in my faith value system. So yeah, but in terms of how it's helped me, like it's honestly like I just can't imagine a life where I can't just be like, God, I need help. Even today before coming here, I was like, oh my God, what will I say? I'm nervous, I'm scared, and just being able to say a little prayer, they definitely help me, and it makes me just feel like okay, sometimes I don't have to always take responsibility. I can just pass that energy to somebody else because actually this energy is way too big for me. So I'm gonna just pass it to you, God. You deal with it, and then I'll come back tomorrow and we'll talk again. And so
I
that's kind of
love
where
that.
I'm
I
at
do
now
love
with my relationship with God. So yeah.
the fact that you're saying passing the energy.
Oh yeah, constantly, bro. Like it's too hard. Like honestly, life, especially as an adult, like bro, we have bills to pay. You wake
Life
up
has
and
fucking hands, and yeah, we need to get faster and a little bit
honestly, like
stronger sometimes.
yeah, you wake up and you're literally paying bills constantly. So I'm like, oh, I can't. Somebody else has to manage this, like So yeah.
Now, in the fact that I said that, I don't practice any form of religion, whenever I
Mhm.
lose something, I do pray to Saint Anthony. And I think that's just like a very Irish thing, the saint of
Mm.
lost things. And I'm like, okay, Saint Anthony, I don't know if you're there or not, but can you please help me? That's that's
And do you find that helps?
I when it does help, and I do find the things instantaneously after doing it, I'm like,
Mm.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
maybe I should be praying a lot more.
Yeah, it's just great to know that like you can just I suppose just share that energy with a greater power than yourself. Like I feel like it's the same with like the way if you're in a relationship and obviously like I love my girls, right, and I have a lot of girlfriends and stuff, but I always say to people, listen, like you will never be the same as having an actual romantic relationship. I don't know what it is. It's like the things you can say to someone that you're romantically in love with is different to what you can say to your friends. Do you get me? Like
The
I feel like
difference
that's
between romantic to platonic to familial is definitely there. There's a different connection
yeah.
of sorts.
Yeah, I know. So like, and the same with my mom. Like, don't get me wrong, I love my mom, and like she asked me, "Florence, are you okay?" But I feel like even if I'm saying the same thing to my mom, it's not the same. So I just feel like that's how I feel with my relationship with God. Like it's being able to, I can talk to myself. I'm not feel like I'm talking to myself. I feel like someone is listening and he can hear me. So
Yeah.
yeah, like no, I love that for me to be honest. So yeah.
How do you find the balance of, let's say, the word you use, which is very, very poignant, is energy. How do you find the balance in staying not only grounded in yourself, but persistent in, let's say, your business and also pivoting to life when it starts just throwing stuff at you? Like, how what is the best way? How can you share an example where you know you're able to stay true to who you are with faith, with being your own individual self, and also having relationships with other people?
Mm. I think for me, I'm just constantly thinking about, like, I always think about what values that serve me, right? So, like, okay, if I had a customer, for example, right, and maybe they were having a bad day. Sometimes you do see this, like, someone could be having a bad day and they'll project all these
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
negative, and I'm like, listen, I could literally give it right back to you right now, because I'm also going through my own shit, for lack of a better word. But then I'm like, okay, as a good Christian, I won't say anything. I'll be quiet, because because I know that's what Jesus would want me to do. Um, so sometimes, like, obviously, you just have to, like, I do find that I'm constantly, like, even in work, like, you might have a parent and they're having a bad day, and, like, they literally project on you. And, like, obviously within my professional, like, capacity, I can't lash out at a parent. Like, I just have to take a step back and be like, okay, Florence, you tell them to do breathing exercises, you do the same, and I just think it's really, to be honest, it's all about just always looking at those values that you have and how do they serve you. I hope I've answered your question. I feel like I rambled on a bit there.
No, Jesus Christ, ramble on more, because when you are your own individual and shit is being thrown at you, you have one or two choices. You're going to either attack it back, or you're going to be introspective and reflect. And I think I hate using the word adult thing to do, because we all know a couple of adults that will literally lash out
I
and
know.
act very adolescent. But, like,
Yeah.
to take a step back and say, this person is going through their own shit. They are
Yeah.
projecting. I'm
Yeah.
not going to project that energy back, because I'm
Yeah.
saving my peace and
Honestly,
space.
and that's really what it is. Somebody has to be the bigger person. Like, I'm not even going to, just in case my friends listen to this, well, they will, because I'll be sending it to them. But I have had, like, one or two incidences this year at least that I'm like, yeah, it's like a classic example of people projecting. And one person has been able to own up to it. I'm like, oh my God, Florence, sorry, yesterday I was actually having a bad day myself. And she literally said, I'm so sorry, I projected that onto you. And I was like, like, if I had, like, literally responded the way you were coming at me, like, but I just feel like, as well, the older you get, certain things are just more important. So, like, obviously, my relationship with that person, I value him more than like a 5 minutes argument and not talking
Yeah.
to me for another 3 weeks. So I think that's what it is. And even, like, with the business, like, sometimes where things are challenging, and that's why your reason why has to be much more bigger than yourself, because it's those reasons why that will keep you grounded. Like, for me to be able to say, it's more than fashion, it's more than, like, it's just not just about me making money. Like, it's like I'm very lucky. I feel very privileged to be working, obviously, in a space where I have a good job, and I'm not really, and sometimes maybe to the fault of myself, because my mentor would say, Florence, you're not like an entrepreneur who needs the money. I'm like, why? She's like, no. She's like, if you need that money, you will do everything possible, if that's what's paying your bill. But and I do find myself very lucky. Maybe I don't know, like, I'm not in that space where I need the business to live. Do you get me? But at the same time, I still am very much passionate about the people in my community, and just making sure that I'm able to inspire other people as well. And I'm really excited for the future. I do know that sometimes when you can't really see the way out, it can get very foggy and stuff. But just remaining persistent and just keep doing what you're doing, and going to events and being inspired by other people and connecting with other people as well, could really, really help. Because and actually, speaking of connecting with other people, I'm planning to, like, take a break at the end of this year, and I might be going back home to Nigeria, and and I'm hoping that really just being in that space and environment, I can also be re-inspired again, and just, like, learning things from my own people, and seeing how I can incorporate this into what I do. And I'm really excited for that as well, and I'm hoping that just being in a different environment as well can really help with when you're feeling a sense of, like, loss and, like, confusion.
Okay.
So
It's an interesting thing you were saying about loss and confusion, and going back just a few steps, you were talking about fashion. Even though I know your brand is very much fashion from the outset, from my perspective, because, like, I have no fashion expertise whatsoever. You've seen me at certain events and I'm wearing like the most mismatched of things. If I could, I'd wear the same
No.
€4 pennies shirts because like they're
Listen,
so simple for me. But what
yeah,
you've cultivated is a cultural identity for people in a space that they wouldn't normally see it. So the fact that you want to go back at the end of the year to almost rejuvenate, fill that
mm,
empty cup in a certain extent is like it's a very interesting thing. But I want to hit a point before I forget it because I will. It's you said mentor
mhm.
there earlier. Is there any specific mentors or role models who have inspired and guided you on your journey? Not
Yeah.
just your lecturer who kept you included and made you feel seen in a space that you didn't, but like has anyone influenced your understanding, I guess, in life and success and persistence in
Yeah.
what you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm passionate about women. Honestly, I'm really passionate about women. I just feel like, yeah, I don't know, women just do it for me. But my like three people like that are key. I would say QB Springer, Fusaya Longe, and Chrissy Stella. I love these three women so much. Like great examples of people who have literally, seen an idea and run with it, despite all odds, and made something out of it for themselves and for their community. It's incredible to see. Christy actually is funny, and this is my virtual PT. I'm going to send this to her actually. So, Christy, shout out to you. When I was looking to change I suppose, my fitness journey, I don't know how I stumbled upon her on YouTube, and like she was just so humble, and you could just tell in how she was conducting herself in her videos that she genuinely was passionate about teaching people, about how to move their bodies, and like she really broke down this concept of not everyone is going to have a big booty. Like you have to think about your make, your build, your culture, and she was like, you can't always say, oh my god, I'm gonna have the biggest bum. Like sometimes, for your age and your size and your culture and just the fact that you're white, you might not have, and all these things, and just
Keeping
really,
it
really
real, keeping it real.
exactly keeping it real. And then I followed her on Instagram, and I realized she had like over like 4 million followers, and I'm like, oh my god, you would not even know, and then I actually seen her on she had an interview on the Diary of a CEO, and I'm like, this woman is a billionaire. I'm like, what? And she's so humble. Like, and I'm just like, wow. And do you know what? Like, that's what I want to be. Like, I want to always be relatable and approachable. I never want to be that person that thinks that they're too big to talk or to, like, I've been to spaces and still, this is why myself and Fina really was so surprised by you, because do you remember that movie premiere we went to, and like yourself and Jordan were creating content, and I was like, oh my god, this is so fun. And then we added on
Oh wait,
Instagram.
was this Black Adam, or was this the one where
Black
I saw
Adam.
the fact I like when we saw ye making content and ye were like taking pictures in front? This was Emily. And I
Yeah.
saw you were trying to hold the light while also taking the shots in the videos. I was like, no, excuse me, you need a
Yeah.
lighting guide? That's me. Here,
Yeah.
look at me. I'll hold the light.
Yeah, no, honestly, and
Oh,
I think just going home and just seeing that, like the amount of following, and I was like, what? Like you wouldn't even know. And it's funny because that day, myself and Fina were actually speaking about other content creators, and there's always this massive gap and this facade and this ego thing about content creators, and it's just, I do hope that it changes where people just feel like, I don't know, and I'm obviously without sharing too much, but it's just like I just want people to just be yourself. Like you're a human being as well, and so is the other person. Like there really is no need for you to make people feel less, and we constantly get that in this space. And I know it's how the industry works, but it's just really weird. Like I
no,
just
I think it's the individual because there are so many
hmm.
more people like you, but go on anyway. Like more authentic people. It's just
Yeah, and I just feel like it's just we just need people to be more real and like just humble. And honestly, I've like obviously for I think the entire month of March, my business, we were on more streets doing the markets and stuff. And like I'm not trying to blow my own horn. The amount of people that came up to me and were like, "Oh my god, like I can't believe you're the founder of my."
toot that horn, blow it up, blow it up.
No, and it's just like people, oh my god, you're so nice, and I'm like, well, why wouldn't I be like, why, like, why, do you know? And there's just no need for people to be stuck up, but unfortunately, a lot of people are like that. But yes, I love Chrissy because she's just so humble. She's killing it in her business. She has like 3 different businesses. She's doing so well in it, and she again inspiring her community and just really, really getting down into the dirty game and just doing that. And even her posts and Instagram posts, they're always so transparent. She'll tell you, this week I had a shit week, I wasn't able to go to the gym. This week I had this health complication, and she's just so transparent. For Saya as well, another woman who is absolutely inspiring, so inspiring. She's Nigerian, literally someone as well who she like dropped out of college, you know, went to studied accounting, and then dropped out of that as well, and you know, like pursued her business, and like literally like during the pandemic her business grew so much. And one thing that I love about her is how she's been able to build a community. And like honestly, I've never met her before, but I've seen her in my dreams like 3 times. I feel like she's my sister. I feel like she's my sister. It's so weird, like, but like that again, I just love people that are able to really, really bring themselves to the forefront of what they do, and are transparent about the journey, and are open to sharing the ups and downs, like, you know, how they started, the obstacles that they faced, times that they felt like giving up, and why they haven't, because it inspires people like me too. Like, I definitely feel like I'm still upcoming myself, and knowing that people like that, like, they've also felt like the way I'm feeling now is, you know, is pretty 100%. Incredible, you know.
I think we've gone through that era where if you are a certain, let's say, type of celebrity, if you're a certain type of influencer, if you have a certain number behind your name, we don't expect you to be picturesque and perfect anymore. Everyone goes through their own trials and tribulations behind the phone and the screen that they don't show. And when they do be transparent, we realize, okay, this person is human as well. They go through their ups and downs.
Exactly.
How do you celebrate milestones and successes in your life? Like, be it business, be it personal relationships, be it just having a good work day and you're being like, okay, I deserve this.
Traveling.
Nice.
And just spending time with my friends, and just like going out for food and stuff. I do feel like I don't celebrate enough, and honestly, it's not great. I feel like sometimes I'm very hard on myself, and it takes me a while to see the wins, which is really sad. Like, I do feel like I hope I do get to that point where I'm able to just give myself a pat on the back for the things that I've been able to achieve thus far. Sometimes when you're so driven and like you're constantly hurting yourself, it's not helpful either, you know. And that in itself is not it's not helpful for growth. Sometimes it's really good to just take a step back, be grateful for what you have and how far you've come. Actually, speaking of this, there's something very personal. 2 weeks ago, I was coming from the gym and I seen one of my crushes from when I was in secondary school.
Oh God! Okay.
This is too funny. So I was like, oh my God! So I turned my car around and I went and I was like, oh hi, and everything. And
you were in the car and you did a full U-turn. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
I did. I know. I'm like, Florence, what? And you know, I was like, Florence, what are you doing? Keep going.
No, you missed the chances you don't take.
So I turned around and I was like, oh my God, hi. And he was like, hi. And to be honest, like, he was stuttering and like he couldn't talk. And I was like, okay, it's nice for the roles to switch. And you know, obviously we got back home that day and I was like, oh, you know, you were so mean to me in school. And I was like, you weren't even having a bar of me. And you know, obviously he acknowledged and he was like, he was like, oh, I know you were always flirting. I was like, yeah, I was flirting, but like you never really responded. But obviously, and he was like, oh, like you look really well. And you know what, like obviously we had that conversation and it was nice and we trashed things out on the day or whatever. But it really just made me realize how far I've come. Like, I'm not that girl that liked him when I was in secondary school, you know. And it's not even about, I just feel like I'm just like that girl who at the time my parents had just separated. You know, I was just going through my own little shit then. I definitely feel like I definitely was depressed when my parents separated. My mom got me into music and that really helped me. But like, I know as a young girl, like I was always so zoned out. But now, like, and then I probably wouldn't talk. Like, I was really shy. And now, like, literally, I'll go into a room and I'll make friends with everyone there. Like, honestly, I'm so, I can make friends anywhere. Do you know? I love connecting with people and just talking and sharing things and learning from you. And I've just grown so much, and it's just so, like, it's beautiful to see. But like, even at that, like, I wouldn't have seen that if I didn't meet that person. I'm like, oh my God, like, you know. So sometimes it's nice to just sit down and take a step back and just see how far you've come. So it'll help you to say, okay, I've come this far, and with the strengths and the resilience I've built and the skills I've picked up, right, where am I going? Do you know that kind of way?
100%. If you were the same person you were when you were a teenager, something went wrong somewhere. You are constantly growing and constantly learning and developing.
Yeah. So yeah.
Looking ahead, what aspirations do you have? Are there any goals for the future? Like any plans for incorporating to the entrepreneurial endeavors
Yeah.
or for personal life goals?
Yeah, like as I said, I'm planning on going to Nigeria
Yeah.
this year. I am. My friends are getting married, but I'm also going to try and incorporate some business ventures into it. I want to learn. Like I'm going to try and see if I can meet some industry experts, and just see like any advice they have for me, what I can learn from them. I'm hoping that I can connect with like entrepreneurs and like go attend events and just you know just be inspired again and incorporate that into our future collections.
Yeah.
I love speaking for Sarah. I love what she does. She travels and basically like all her collections are inspired by her travel ventures, and I just think that's absolutely amazing. There's a place in Nigeria. It's called Abeokuta, and it's like the literal meaning is under the rock. And the women there traditionally they basically make tie and dye, like so fabrics like I don't know, have you heard of tie and dye?
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically they would like technically make these clothes, and now we see everyone has been incorporated into like the Western fashion and stuff, but like I don't know, there's something about those particular techniques that I've always loved and I always wanted to incorporate into my business, but I feel like I want to learn it in a way now that I can actually modernize it as well. So and I just feel like I'm looking to travel and just like inspire a future collection. And then in terms of like my personal life, like I'm just constantly taking this year out to just be kind to myself and allow myself to take the breaks that I need, and hopefully by the time I come out of this phase that I'm in, like I have something fresh and new to share. But in the meantime, like I'm still online, I'm still creating content and just put myself out there, but just being mindful of myself and my general space, so that I'm like taking
If you had a title, what would you call the phase you're in? What would be the name of this book or this movie?
Transitioning.
Oh no, with the introspective existential title. Very nice. Okay.
Transitioning. Yeah.
You
And I'm loving it for myself. Like it's actually been hard. Like honestly, thank you so much for having me on this podcast. Like it's been a great eye opener. I'm loving the conversations, but like even as I'm speaking, I'm like definitely I'm transitioning, and it's actually very very much reassuring that it's okay to be in this phase. I'm a little lost, but I definitely feel like it's actually just a transition into another season, right? So it's just figuring out how to get from where I am to where I want to be to where I want to be. So
1000%. You Jesus, like we've actually been trying to connect for nearly a year now at events or just like different things, and I think it was the fact like it was like ground out time. We're going to get Florence onto the podcast. We're going to connect this way. Like what was the last event we were at? I think it was Black Adam. Like
it was.
DC.
It was.
Was it? It was.
Yeah, it was Black Adam. Yeah.
And that was even just like a flying in the wind, like
very much brief. Yeah, very much brief. No, but honestly, like it's like never in a million years would I actually even think that I'd be on your podcast. So I'm feeling very very gassed right now. I'm like, oh my god.
It might be like the start of your own podcast. You might want to start one.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
think about it. Think about it.
Yeah. I'm like, what will I say? What will I say? Do people want to listen to me? Like,
stop that. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a story.
Yeah. I tried to start like a YouTube, but it hasn't quite worked out. Well.
I watched your vlog. I watched your first and only vlog, and I was like, wait, where's the rest? Like she needs to put more up, girl. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do. I just need to start on my iCloud nonsense on my phone, and then I actually need to get a camera. Like it's funny because I actually started YouTube accidentally. Like I've put up a few shorts and they've done really well. So I do know that there's a potential for YouTube and stuff. It's just finding the time and just knowing again, okay, what do I actually want to do and what's the direction I'm going to go in, But yeah.
I actually am going to like throw ourselves 3 steps back for like a completely random question that has nothing to do with what we talked about. But what type of music are you into? What gets you in the zone for the gym? What gets you in the zone for peace and mindfulness? What is on your playlist?
Afrobeat.
Afrobeat. Okay.
Anytime, any day, Afrobeat, and then it has to be Afrobeat. I love Afrobeat. There's something about it, like I don't know, like literally, like honestly, you need to see my face right now. I'm smiling, literally, Afrobeat. And then if I'm feeling real like I want to just like go deeper and just like reflect a bit more, then it might be gospel music.
Okay.
Actually, not mine. So it's Afrobeat then gospel music. Like those are my two main genres that I listen to. So yeah.
It's completely different to me because it's old Irish trad when I want to
Nice.
run, and then it's actually ballet music when I'm in the
Lovely.
gym.
Nice. That's good. Yeah, no, like, do you know what it is? Yeah, actually, yesterday I forgot my phone at home. So yesterday was the first time in my entire life that I actually worked out without my phone and without music.
Oh God, how
Um,
did that feel?
it made me realize how driven I was because I just pushed myself through it. I was like, right, Florence, we have 4 sets, we're gonna do it. Like, there's no music, there's nothing that has to ginger your spirit. You just need to do it. Now, the cardio was hard. I couldn't really get myself into the running and the jogging. Like, it was just like, yeah, this is a drag. But
Yeah,
my other sets, no, I pushed through it, but I wouldn't do it again.
I cannot listen to any gym music because it's always the
Yeah,
same kind of hard style pump
yeah.
pop over and over and over again, and I'm literally just like I've got such a like a sour face going around the gym being like, I want my music. Oh.
Yeah.
If you had any advice, sorry, I know I went off topic there,
Move
but
on.
if you have any advice that you'd give an individual looking to pursue their goals, what would it be?
I would just say, this is not your practice life. This is a real deal. This is real shit. Like, you only have one life. Start, and you can learn on the job.
I agree.
Just start. Honestly, like, sometimes it's better to be the first than to be the best. There will never really be a right time. Like, and sometimes you're never actually ready because while you're waiting for something and you're waiting for everything to be together, I guess there's always another trend. There's always something else, and there'll always be something else that you could have done better. But if you just start, so you can just learn anyways, and just keep going, and obviously be true to yourself, and have a mentor, have people around you that would put you right in the first place. Yeah, and I just feel like once you are sure that this is what you want to do, then just register your business. Honestly, I feel like once I registered my business, I was like, right, yeah, this is serious, and I'm going to take this really serious. Sometimes if you're just like dilly dallying with it, like you won't take it serious. So, like, you need to honestly take yourself serious first before you expect people to do the same.
I I cannot say how humbling it is to hear that. So,
Thank you so much, Lewis. Honestly, like,
no.
honestly, you've been bigging me up all day. I love this for you. Thank you so much. Like, I'm actually so honored to be here. I can't believe we've been talking for like over an hour. And it's just been so natural. And
What?
it's like, yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, and I feel
Okay.
like it's a testament to who you are and your personality. And thank you for being yourself. Thank you for honestly having me here and just like giving me the audience even to like just share my own story as well. Yeah, like I'm definitely a diehard fan. And I love what you're doing as well. Like, honestly, I said it to you the last time. Like, the space that you're in is very difficult, and you do it so gracefully. You do so, like, because everyone is doing fashion, and but to come in and be able to bring your personality and just like add comedy and make people laugh, like, so effortlessly. Like, honestly, you're a star.
Gracefully with a clown face. Yeah, that is me. I am a graceful ballerina, but I look like Ojo the clown from Duffy's Circus.
Oh God.
But anyway, to our listeners today, Florence, Olufemi, Ojo, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you, guys. Follow me on Instagram at Moded Inside Out. Follow my business, MIO Prints. We're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, and then our website is www.mio-prints.com.
Everyone, go give her a follow, listen to her journey, follow her experience as she not only develops in her fashion career, her community, but also life in general.
Thank you so much, guys. Honestly, thank you. I'm really, really appreciative of you, Stuart. And yeah, guys, please listen to Stuart's podcast, support our guy. He's working hard. It's not easy. So yeah, let's be kind and just keep growing this community. And Stuart, I'm going to wish you the very best, in your journey. And I'm excited for what's to come ahead.
Thank you, my dear. I will talk to you in a few seconds.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
But what can I say is I'd kindly ask you, if you did enjoy this episode, to leave a review, a like, comment, share, wherever on social media you have heard this, whichever social media platform. What we're trying to do is raise awareness, build this community with more like-minded individuals who are passionate about the well-being of personal growth, interpersonal development. We can create a space where we can uplift and inspire one another. You can engage and be involved with making tremendous difference, and I appreciate you for that, because you have done that over and over again. This podcast has grown exponentially beyond my wildest dreams. It is something I will truly be humbled for the rest of my life. You could do something small for someone else any day. Compliment. Help them with their shopping. Random stranger. Pick up something they dropped. Smile. And it could change their day for the better. Make a lasting impact. So with that, friends,